Today we're about to simulate the career of the greatest player the NFL has ever seen. Standing at a whopping 6'10", 265 pounds, this QB by the name of Mason Hartwell is going to go down as the greatest prospect to come into the draft. He has the speed of Tyreek Hill, the shiftiness of Barry Sanders, and the QB play of Tom Brady. This is the best player a team could ask for. And the lucky team ending up with him would be the Arizona Cardinals, who have a very good situation right now on offense, but the defense is very lackluster. But that clearly shouldn't be a problem for the greatest prospect in the NFL, or so I thought. So his rookie year would shockingly not be as good as you may think, as right away he's having 3,600 yards and 26 TDs, which may seem good right off the bat for a rookie, but for a player of his caliber is definitely kind of low if you think about it. But besides that, Mason Hartwell is still leading the Cardinals into postseason play for the first time since 2021, but when you look at the big picture of the NFC, they are definitely not ready to start competing right now. And that would show in the wildcard round, as the Cardinals would be getting dominated by the Eagles 42-21, closing out Hartwell's rookie year. One thing's crystal clear after this rookie season: Hartwell is going to need to step up more for the whole team to go get some real postseason success and hopefully lead this team to the Super Bowl in the near future. So now jumping into the second season for Hartwell's career, he's going to be causing crazy havoc in the NFC, as he's going to be leading the Cardinals back into the postseason, this time as the 1 seed in the NFC. And while his 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns this year wouldn't be the most flashy, he's contributing to winning football right now, which is all that matters at the moment. And that great momentum in the regular season would be continuing for the Cardinals in the postseason, as they would be dominating the Panthers in the divisional round to find their way into the NFC Championship game, now staring down a chance to make it to the Super Bowl in just Mason Hartwell's second year as the QB. But standing in the way of Mason Hartwell's first Super Bowl appearance would be the Detroit Lions, with Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown running one of the biggest offensive powerhouses in the NFC. It's going to be Mason Hartwell's first real playoff test to prove that he's the real deal, so with the lights at the most brightest here, he's going to be taking down the Lions in a very close game, sending Arizona to the Super Bowl for the first time with him at QB. And he'd be meeting with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, as they both now look to add their first rings of their NFL careers. It's a very hyped matchup between two of the best of the NFL has to offer, and now on the biggest stage for everyone to see. And while Josh Allen might have more weight on his shoulder in this game than Mason Hartwell, it's very clear that one of their legacies is going to be changing forever after this one. So with all that at stake, these two elite players would show up at their best, clashing with each other through all four quarters while keeping it close throughout the whole game. And so as it would get close to the end of the fourth quarter, there'd be 2 minutes left and the Cardinals would be up 7 against the Bills, but this time Josh Allen would have the ball in his hands, which means Mason Hartwell has no control of what could happen next. All right, here we go. Josh Allen coming out of the 2-minute warning here in the biggest game of both of these QBs' lives right now. Josh Allen's gonna throw it right away down to Keon Coleman, to intercepted by Will Johnson. And that's gonna be a very big turnover for the Cardinals here. Josh Allen makes a big mistake, and that might just cost them the big game here. Bills defense needs to get a stop here. Mason Hartwell with the chance to put the dagger on this Bills defense. He's gonna throw it out to Marvin Harrison. He's gonna get stopped just before the first down. Bills use their last timeout and are going to be getting the ball back with 1:44 to go. Cardinals are going for it here on 4th and 1. A very big, bold decision here by Arizona. Bills defense has no one guarding Marvin Harrison. He's going down the sidelines, gets out of bounds with 1:40 in a new set of downs. And that right there was the dagger. I can't believe they just did not cover Marvin Harrison on that final play. And Mason Hartwell, in just his second season, is walking home with his first Super Bowl, taking down one of the elite quarterbacks in the process. So Mason Hartwell has won his first ring in his NFL career, and in correlation is also bringing home the Lombardi to Arizona for the first time in franchise history. He's already making his etch in Cardinals history at the very moment, but one thing is bigger than that, which is becoming one of the best the NFL has ever seen. And right now, that one Super Bowl is going to keep him still a very long way away from being one of the greats. But now heading into year 3 for Hartwell, he's officially taken the big NFL MVP jump that we've all been expecting from him, going for 4,400 yards on the year, and along with that, setting 53 touchdowns on the season as well. And with a performance like that, he's earning his first NFL MVP as well, so we're now adding up a very good career resume for him to start things off in only year 3 for him. And to add on to that campaign, he's leading the Cardinals back to the number 1 seed, leading them to a 14-3 record, and that momentum this season would kick them all the way into the NFC Championship game yet again to meet meet up against the Lions. And while this exact Lions team did just face him a year ago in the NFC Championship game, they did not see the MVP version of him, which means that he has a very big advantage in this one. But just because Mason Hartwell is all of a sudden an MVP doesn't mean that the Lions are looking to get revenge on this team from last season. So with that being said, this would be a very big offensive shootout the whole entire game. But in the end, while Hartwell would be putting his all into this one, the Lions would be getting their much craved revenge over him, as they would be taking him down and ending his MVP season in the NFC Championship game. And since Mason Hartwell is trying to become the next greatest of all time, it's very important to note that Mahomes is going to be taking down the Lions in the Super Bowl and adding ring number 4 to his career as he tries to become the greatest of all time as well. And with Mahomes adding ring number 4, Mason Hartwell now has an even bigger mountain to climb as he tries to become one of the greatest of all time. But even when he's climbing that mountain, that doesn't mean he's not going to have any setbacks whatsoever, and that would be happening this year in season 4, as he's going to be missing the playoffs completely, as the Arizona Cardinals would only win 9 games. And while he would still be playing good this season, it's very clear that this was a case of a QB playing elite football, but the team around him just not clicking quite right. And so with Hartwell not being in the postseason this year, we would be seeing a new quarterback winning their first ring, being Justin Herbert and the Chargers. But if we're being honest, Justin Herbert has a very long way to go if he wants to be one of the best, so we're not going to really focus on him too much. So now heading into year 5 for Mason Hartwell, they are going to be bouncing back this season, going 11-6 on the year, with Hartwell having yet another great season. So it's very good news that he's going to be playing in the postseason yet again, which should scare everybody in the NFC, but clearly it would not scare a particular team. And even more embarrassing, this game would not be close whatsoever, immediately taking away any momentum that we thought the Cardinals had at this very moment. And this would cause a downhill spiral in his career, as now going into year 6, this time he would be missing the playoffs, which is now causing the last 3 years to be 2 wildcard losses and now a completely missing postseason. And one thing certain after these last 3 seasons, Mason Hartwell needs to start playing a little bit better, because it's very clear that his play is going to have to single-handedly win this team football games like generational talent should. And while his style of play might be very much against the way football is played, as it's very much a team sport, sometimes when you have a generational talent like him, you are going to have to change the game and the dynamics of it forever. And he would be doing that going into season 7 for himself, as he would be having another great season, going for 4,800 yards and 40 touchdowns and winning the MVP once again. It's a very big step in the right direction for him this season, which would also include another postseason appearance, where very notably they're going to be playing the Saints in the wildcard round, who now have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, who has officially ended his career at Kansas City and is now moving on. And funny enough, it's going to be the first time that they're facing off against each other in the postseason, as they're now both in the same conference, which is going to make for a very good playoff game here. Mahomes is one of the people that Mason Hartwell has to beat out in his career to become the greatest of all time, so a win here would be very beneficial for him. And so when there's 2 elite talents like that at quarterback, you know this game would be close the whole entire time between the 2 of them, but this time around, Mason Hartwell is going to be coming out on top and taking down Mahomes in the wildcard round for a very close game. And this win would give them the momentum they needed to get back into the NFC Championship game, just to face one of their division rivals, being the Seattle Seahawks, home to one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, being JSN. And division rival games in the playoffs are always very important, as it'll be the 3rd time these 2 teams are facing off against each other in the same season, so they're very familiar with their teams right now. And with these 2 teams knowing each other's next moves, this game would be very low scoring throughout all 4 quarters, and as we got into the 4th quarter late in the game, it would be the Seattle Seahawks being up 15-10 over the Cardinals. And with the clock almost running out into the 4th quarter, Mason Hartwell is getting one more shot to lead his team on a game-winning drive here in the NFC Championship game to send his team back to the Super Bowl. Starting from his own 16-yard line here, he has a long way to go to try to score on this one. And there is going to be a flag that's probably going to be holding on the O-line, and it's going to be thrown into double coverage and incomplete. And it is holding on the O-line. Awesome. We have the greatest team in the NFL. Officially past the 2-minute warning now here. 1st and 18 officially. This is one of the worst disasters this could happen for him. Hartwell is throwing it over Marvin Harrison. It's going to be incomplete there. Don't know what that was all about. I gotta say, for him being the best prospect ever, his accuracy sometimes is like the most questionable thing I've ever seen, but that's okay. His receiver, I believe that's going to be Chris Bell maybe. I don't think it actually is. Never mind. 3rd and 12 now. Mason Hartwell throwing it out to his tight end there, and he's going to fall short of the 1st down. It's going to be 4th and 2 now. This might be the Cardinals season here. We'll have to see. He's making adjustments, but we got to get the ball going. Great IQ here. But I guess it's his team. Run whatever he wants. Marvin Harrison's wide open down there. Grabs the first down. It's going to cut down to 55 seconds, and they got to hurry to the line again. Looking to spike the ball here right away. It's going to come down to 49 seconds. Does Hartwell have a game-winning drive in here for him? We're just going to have to see. He's going to drop back. Hopefully he makes a big play. Gets hit as he throws. Does get it down to McBride, who's going to get 5 yards there. It's creating 3rd and 5 now. Almost about to hit 30 seconds left in the game. Hartwell, another quick pass out to his tight end. It's going to be incomplete this time, though. Hartwell might have to make the play himself, to be honest. Throws it out to Marvin Harrison again, who grabs a first down for him, and he's going to be down at the 47. One of the playmakers between McBride, Harrison, and even Mason Hartwell himself is going to have to make a big play here. He's going to step up in the pocket and just throw it away for no one. They got to get something big, at least going down the sidelines to get out of bounds, but we'll have to see what they do. And he's going to throw another pass out of bounds for 8 seconds left. Looks like he's just going to settle on the jackpot Hail Mary here. I'm kind of shocked by that decision. Obviously, he can get this ball into the end zone very easily with his arm. And he's going to throw it pretty quick there. And that's not at all close, and it's going to be incomplete. He's falling short of another Super Bowl appearance. What a career this dude is having right now. So it's a tough ending for Mason as he falls short of another Super Bowl appearance, and with him losing, Seattle is taking down Drake May and the Patriots yet again in the Super Bowl rematch this time. So far, Mason Hartwell's been performing very well in the playoffs, but one thing's very clear. As the NFC gets better, he needs to start getting better as well, and if that means he has to carry the team single-handedly, then so be it. And heading into year 8, he would be having his best season yet, going for 5,100 yards and 42 touchdowns on the season and winning another MVP award for himself. So the good news for him to become one of the best to ever play the game, he's definitely winning the MVP awards to do so, but the only thing he's really missing right now is the Super Bowl rings. And he would be leading the Cardinals back into the postseason as they now look to try to get back to the promised land this time around, but to be honest, everything's going to come to a very screeching halt in the wildcard round. Because it would be Jackson Dart and the New York Giants absolutely destroying Mason Hartwell 31-9 and sending him back home yet again. It's very clear right now that the team that's been built around him is definitely solid to get into the playoffs, but clearly when it comes to the postseason, he needs to make a bigger step up in his game. The bad news side of that though is that he's already playing at an MVP level, so to hit an even higher level than that almost seems next to impossible at the moment, but one thing's very clear is if he wants to add another Super Bowl ring to his career, he needs to keep playing at this exact level and hopefully just pray that his team gets better. And even though he is a one-of-one type of player and will never be seen again, that doesn't necessarily mean that his play is always going to result in postseason action, as in year 9 he's going to be missing the playoffs as a whole this time. And with them missing the playoffs, his play would also go down a little bit this season as he's only having 3,800 yards and 26 touchdowns on the whole season, which doesn't necessarily sound right for what we've been seeing recently. Right now the whole team isn't clicking whatsoever, and that can't be happening anymore if he wants to add another Super Bowl to his resume, so they definitely need to get their act together right away. And just like in the past, it's hard for him to have 2 seasons of back-to-back very mediocre play from himself, as in year 10 he's going to be winning yet another MVP award with 5,100 yards and 48 touchdowns and also sending his team back into the postseason. And so as the Arizona Cardinals are back in the driving seat of the NFC as they are the 1 seed this time around, they're going to be using all their momentum from the season to go into the NFC Championship game to face off against the Carolina Panthers. And in the mix of all the chaos we've seen over the last few years, the Bryce Young era in Carolina has officially ended and they have a new quarterback in town, being Julian Sayin, who's from Ohio State. Julian Sayin is still a pretty young quarterback, and with this being his first playoff series for the Carolina Panthers, it's definitely going to be very clear that his lack of experience could be getting the best of him in this one. So with that being said, Mason Hartwell and the Cardinals will be taking them down to go back to the promised land and hopefully give him his second ring of his career. And the team in the way of Mason Hartwell winning his second Super Bowl ring would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are led by Travis Hunter, who is still competing as a two-way player in the NFL, which is very impressive at this point. So Mason Hartwell has a very worthy opponent in the big game this year, and as he looks for his second Super Bowl ring, this year he's going to be earning that as he's showing no mercy against this Jaguars team, taking them down 34-9 in a blowout. It's a very big win for Hartwell as he's earning his second Super Bowl ring ring of his career and also earning yet another Super Bowl MVP, which should hopefully be helpful as this Cardinals team rides on with the momentum heading into next season. And after a game like this, it's very clear that Hartwell is getting very close to reaching some of the greatest of all time status, but isn't going to be quite at the top of that list quite yet. In order to hit that greatest of all time list, he's going to need to keep up his amazing play, which is what he's exactly going to be doing in his 11th year, as he's going to be winning yet again another MVP, going for 5,300 yards and 39 TDs on the year. And the good news for him is that in the postseason, he's going to be leading the Cardinals all the way back to the Super Bowl to face off against Drake May and the Patriots, who right now are 0-2 in Super Bowl appearances in the Drake May era, which is definitely going to be very helpful for Mason Hartwell to potentially win his third one. But this time around, the Patriots would be very close to maybe just taking home their first Lombardi with Drake May, as they would be sticking close to the Cardinals the whole entire game. But it would be the Patriots who would be making the big push in the fourth quarter to take the lead up 20-7 over Mason Hartwell and the Cardinals, and making it look like Drake May is going to be finally winning a Super Bowl. But the game wouldn't be over quite yet, as Mason Hartwell would still be scoring a touchdown towards the end of the fourth quarter and making it now a 14-20 game. And so the only hope of Mason Hartwell staying undefeated in the Super Bowl would be a single onside kick that could decide the future of both QB's NFL careers. Here comes the onside kick. Will the Cardinals have a chance to recover? Oh my God, they recovered it. What in the world, dude? They got the onsides. They have 2 timeouts still. He's just gonna go for it all here. 2 receivers down there. Oh my God. They had 7 seconds left and they only had 7 points. Oh my God. Here comes the PAT. That is gonna do it. Oh my God, Mason Hartwell with the best throw of his career. Stunning would be an understatement of the moment we have just seen. This is potentially the greatest Super Bowl game-winning touchdown we have ever seen. It very much looked like Mason Hartwell is about to lose in the Super Bowl for the first time, and Drake May was going to finally turn his career around, but this time he had different answers instead, and recovering the onside kick was definitely one of the biggest moments we've ever seen. And maybe by the time Mason Hartwell's career ends, this one Super Bowl might go down in history as the one that really got him ahead of everybody else on the greatest of all time list. So heading into year 12, Mason Hartwell's only goal is to pull off the legendary three-peat, which not many teams have been able to pull off in NFL history, and with the way that he's been playing in the regular season, it looks more than possible this year. He's putting the Cardinals team on his back, going for 4,500 yards and 45 TDs to lead this team back to the 1 seed in the NFC, opening up a very wide open window for them to pull off this legendary Super Bowl win. But just because you're the 1 seed doesn't mean you've automatically booked a trip to go to the Super Bowl, so he would be getting all the way to the NFC Championship game to run into the Giants and Jackson Dart once again. And it's been some time since he's had to play against Jackson Dart, who at this point in his career is now an aging veteran quarterback, which is very crazy to say for how far we are in Mason Hartwell's career. And with Jackson Dart being older, this is probably one of his final shots to get back to the promised land and potentially win himself a Super Bowl ring, but in the way, he's gonna have to face a guy like Mason Hartwell, who is just playing at his prime right now. But just because Hartwell is the best player in the NFL at this very moment, it doesn't mean that the Giants won't have a chance to potentially win this one, which they would be keeping this game close the whole entire time, and going into the fourth quarter, they would be keeping this game tied up. And that score would stay the same throughout regulation, which means we're going to be going into overtime to decide who's going to be going and chasing the Lombardi Trophy. Cardinals are getting the ball to start overtime. Obviously, it's going to be their first possession of this one. We'll see if they get the ball back after with the score. And his running back fumbles it again. Bro, they just got to stop handing it off to this guy. That's insane that he's fumbled it already twice. Clearly can't rely on the running back here. Now going to be 2nd and 7 here for the Cardinals. Hartwell, play action pass, and he's going to get sacked right away by Abdul Carter. 3rd and 15 coming up. What a play by the defense. Can Hartwell convert a 3rd and 15 here? Would be a very big play for the team if he can. He's going to throw it out to his receiver, and it's going to be incomplete with the breakup by the Giants DB. And the Cardinals are going on a 3-and-out for their first drive. Now all Jackson and Dart and company need here is a field goal to win this game for themselves. Very good defense there is going to help them out potentially. They're going to hand it off to their back right away, and he's going to get hit hard and goes down with 2nd and 8. Here we go now, 2nd and 8 for Dart. Hands it off to his running back again, who's going to get stuffed right away, and it's going to be 3rd and 9 coming up. Could potentially be seeing 2 3-and-outs in the row here in overtime, which would be very interesting with these defenses. Dart is going to get pressure as he throws, but does get a great pass off and gets a first down with it, down at the 44 with a great catch by Samuels. Dart on 1st and 10 now. Getting pressured again, and great defense there by the Cardinals, making the receiver drop the ball. 2nd and 10 now. Dart, taking his time in the pocket, is going to fumble the ball, and the ball's loose. Cardinals pick it up at the 40. What a play by the defense. Oh my God. Somehow fumbles are changing this game. Like it's just flipping the game the whole way. Can Mason Hartwell answer back for his defense here? Throws a quick pass out to his running back. His running back's got room down at the 20 to the 10, and he's going to house it, and the Cardinals are going back to the Super Bowl. The three-peat potential is still alive for this team. So Hartwell and the Cardinals are moving on to the Super Bowl to potentially pull off the legendary three-peat, and the only team standing in their way would be the Indianapolis Colts. And while this Colts team has made it this far already, they have gone 9-8 on the season and definitely aren't the stronger team over the Cardinals. And so with that being said, Mason Hartwell would be taking care of business in the Super Bowl to pull off the legendary three-peat and send the Cardinals back with another Lombardi trophy. So this now officially gives him 4 Super Bowl wins, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, and to pair with that, 7 MVPs as well. The last few seasons have changed the trajectory of Mason Hartwell's career and have made it look like he might become the greatest of all time at the end of it. So now when we compare Mason Hartwell's career to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes now has 4 Super Bowl rings and now is tied up with Mason Hartwell in the process. And while they both have the same amount of Super Bowl wins, the MVPs that Mason Hartwell has collected over the years might be just enough to be placed over Patrick Mahomes. And while Tom Brady does have the better career so far over Mason Hartwell to be the greatest of all time, Mason Hartwell is definitely getting closer as the days go by. And he could pull off a feat that Tom Brady's never pulled off next season by winning 4 Super Bowls in a row, which would prove complete dominance in the NFL that we have never seen before. But in year 13, something crazy would happen. The dynasty Mason Hartwell's built over his time in Arizona is officially falling apart this season as the team goes 8-9 on the year and completely misses out on the postseason. There's not an exact reason why this team took such a big step back this season, but the one main concern on everyone's mind is that Mason Hartwell is not getting any younger, and he's officially now 34 years old, and this is a very low point in his career. Yes, he did just recently win 3 Super Bowls in a row and is now on track for one of the greatest careers ever, but this whole entire time, he's been chasing the summit, not the runner-up trophy. So now going into next year, Mason Hartwell's looking to get this team back into the postseason and back on track as one of the best teams in the NFL. And he would be doing just that, leading the team back to the 1 seed in the NFC while also having an amazing year himself, going for 5,200 yards and 41 touchdowns. And he would keep the momentum going on from the regular season all the way into the divisional round, where he would be taking down the Commanders very easily and moving on to the NFC Championship game to face off against the Giants once again, who this time no longer have Jackson Dart at quarterback. And while in the past these teams would both be having close games in the NFC Championship, Hartwell would be showing no mercy against them, taking them down 58-8 in one of the biggest NFC Championship games wins we've ever seen. And so after one down season, Hartwell's officially back in the Super Bowl trying to take home another Lombardi, and the only team in his way now is going to be the Cleveland Browns. The Browns team no longer has Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, which is going to make for a very interesting matchup this time around, as they really didn't have much success with Mendoza at quarterback, so there's now officially a new era in Cleveland potentially. But it's clear if the Browns have made it this far in the playoffs, their QB play has had to have been very good, but nothing can really compare to what Mason Hartwell is doing at this very moment. But even with that, this Browns team would not be showing any lack of struggle in this game, as they're going to be hanging on with the Cardinals the whole entire time. And as we got into the fourth quarter, the Browns would start pulling away with a little bit of a lead of their own, going up 27-20 over Mason Hartwell, who's officially looking like he might be losing his first Super Bowl. And while Cleveland may want to start celebrating right now, when you put the ball in the hands of an elite quarterback like Mason Hartwell, there is no telling what could happen next. All right, here comes Mason Hartwell, down 7 in the Super Bowl to the Cleveland Browns. That's a crazy sentence to be saying. He's going to take a little shot out to his tight end, who's going to grab 5 yards there. Hartwell now on 2nd and 5. Throws it out to Staley, who's going to reach for a first down and does grab it himself with 2:30 to go. Arizona with only 1 timeout left to go. They do have the 2-minute warning on their side coming up here too. Hartwell now on 1st and 10. Is going to go back to his receiver, who's going to grab 5 yards there. 2nd and 5 here, and the team's already across the 50. He's going to throw a little check down to Stolly again, who's going to grab a few yards there and make it 3rd and 1. A minute 30 about to come up here. 3rd and 1 for Hartwell now. Throws a quick pass out to his tight end, who's going to grab the first down there, and that's going to be a new set of downs for them. They hurry back up to the line with a minute 20 left to go. Hartwell now on 1st and 10. Throws a shot out to the 20 and gets it. His teammate goes down at the 10. A very big play by Hartwell and Warren there. An absolutely great throw there by Hartwell, and for Warren to make that catch and get down at the 10 is going to be very huge for them here. 45 seconds left now. Warren makes another nice catch there, makes it 2nd and goal at the 4. Hartwell now. Will he make the touchdown pass? And he will. Out to Stanley, who's going to grab the touchdown for himself there. And this game could officially be tied up with an extra point. And the Cardinals' extra point now. Will it go through? And that is going to be great for them. We have a tied up Super Bowl with 41 seconds left. This game is not over yet for the Browns here with 3 timeouts left to go. And Pratt at QB, can he make a very memorable game-winning drive for the team here? And he throws a little check down and gets 3 yards there, and they're gonna have to hurry up to the line. Here we go. Could the Cardinals force a stop here? No, they will not. The Browns grab the first down and use their first timeout here with 17 seconds left. Browns only really need to get into field goal range to have a chance to win this one. Cardinals send a blitz, almost gets him, and he overthrows his receiver for what could have been a very big play. 13 seconds now, 2nd and 10. Cardinals, can they get to him? They will not. He gets another first down there at the 32. And we have a potentially game-winning field goal here for the Browns. Here we go, 2 seconds left at the 32. Will the Browns make this? I mean, they might be able to. We'll have to see. Kick is up, and that is going to go through. Mason Hartwell is losing in the Super Bowl to the Browns off a game-winning field goal for them. That's rough. So it's a very bad loss going into Mason Hartwell's hands, who's officially now losing his first Super Bowl, which is very unknown territory for him, and especially this late in his career is coming to a shock to everyone. And while being undefeated in the Super Bowl definitely could have made for some valid arguments of why he could have been the greatest of all time after all of his accomplishments, that will no longer be valid after this game. And other older players in this situation would definitely be questioning if they would ever make the Super Bowl again, but with a guy like Mason Hartwell, I wouldn't start ruling that out quite yet with how he's been playing. Now heading into year 15 for Mason Hartwell, he's going to be using the loss in the Super Bowl as motivation to have a career year for himself, going for 5,538 yards, which would be breaking the single season record for passing yards, and 42 touchdowns as well to lead his team back into the postseason strong. And after having a record-breaking season, Mason Hartwell is going to be using all that momentum to lead his team back into the Super Bowl as they left off last season, this time to face off against the Texans. And while Mason Hartwell and the Cardinals would be doing their thing to keep this game close, they would ultimately be trailing against the Texans coming into the 4th quarter. And ultimately, this game would come down to one play that Mason Hartwell made himself. Cardinals hurry back up to the line now with the new set of downs. Hartwell throws an interception. Are you serious? And that might do it in the Super Bowl for them. What a mistake by Hartwell, and now he might have just cost his team the game. So a costly interception means that Mason Hartwell no longer is getting ring number 5 on his career, and compared to last season's loss, this one's going to hurt a lot more. The revenge that Hartwell was looking to get in this game, he would ultimately end up fumbling the opportunity himself, which is going to get lots of people talking about this game for a while. And with him now being 36 years old and heading into his 16th year in the NFL, questions are starting to loom around how much more time this guy really has left to play. But the one thing they wouldn't be questioning in year 16 is if he's still playing at an MVP level, which he's doing just exactly that, going for 5,400 yards and 50 TDs like the elite player that we know him as. The longevity Mason Hartwell's developed in his NFL career is very crazy, and doing all this at 36 years old is unheard of. And so yet again, he's making another postseason push to potentially get back to the Super Bowl, but in the NFC Championship game, they're gonna have to go through the Giants once again like old times. And as we wrapped up the 4th quarter, the Giants and the Cardinals would be tied up, which means we're going to be going into overtime to decide who's going home and who's going to play in the Super Bowl. And in overtime, both teams' first possessions would be 3 and outs, and the ball would be going back to New York for a chance to potentially win this game with only a field goal. Officially in sudden death overtime for both teams here as they both failed to score on their first possessions. Giants get the ball back, fumble it at the 25, 25 I mean. What a mistake by the running back. They are going to review it. There's a chance the Giants might get bailed out here by the refs. We are going to have to see. Giants are keeping the ball, so game is not over for the Giants here. Very scary play there, though, by the running back. We'll have to see how they approach the rest of the drive with that now. They're going to hand it off to him once again. He's getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage now. 3rd and 9. Here we go, 3rd and 9. Quarterback's going to throw it, and wow, what a catch by the receiver. Going down the sidelines. I don't even know what just happened there. Down at the 33. The Giants now might have a chance to win this one. They're going to hand it off to the back again. He's going to get stuffed for only 2 yards there. 2nd and 8 now. Cardinals defense needs a big stop here. Running back's going to grab the first down there. That might do it for the Cardinals season. We're going to have to see. Here comes a kick for the Giants here. This could ultimately end Mason Hartwell's season. It could very well put him into retirement. We will have to see. The kick is up, and that is going to go through. The Giants are going to the Super Bowl, and Mason Hartwell is falling short in the NFC Championship game. So the Giants are taking down Mason Hartwell in overtime and are going back to the Super Bowl, and Mason Hartwell is officially going back home with a lot to think about after this year. This is officially now 3 years of very tough losses, with 2 Super Bowl losses and an NFC Championship game loss that went into overtime. Retiring right now would mean that he would be retiring off a very tough loss, but people would still be remembering the great career that he did have. But ultimately, after thinking about it, he's not going to be ending his time like that. He's got one more in him. So now he's heading into year 17, being his last year in the NFL, and his only goal that he has set on right now is going for ring number 5. So the Cardinals are making the postseason in his final year, luckily, and he's cruising his team all the way back into the Super Bowl to hopefully get a chance to win a Super Bowl one more time. This is also going to be the last game Mason Hartwell is playing in his NFL career, no matter what the outcome is, and that one team would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a very big history of winning games like this. So in Mason Hartwell's final game in the NFL, he's going to be leaving his all out on the field one last time to hopefully take down this strong Steelers team. And even at his age, he's going to be keeping up with this team the whole entire time and making sure that the Cardinals are in this game the whole way. And that would be keeping up the whole entire rest of the way, as going into the 4th quarter with 2 minutes left, this game would be all tied up, but this time Mason Hartwell would have the ball in his hands, potentially having a chance to win this game for his team. And with this potentially being his last drive, the pressure is at an all-time high. All right, here come the Cardinals, 3rd and inches now with 1:56 to go. They're going to hand it off to their back, who's going to fall short of a first down there, creating 4th and 1 for the team here. And they're going to line up to go for it here in a tied game. They still have 3 timeouts to go. Not the worst decision. They are going to throw it on 4th and 1. He's taking a shot down the middle to hit his receiver down at the 27 and convert the first down. Arizona now in prime position to win this game. If they just want to run it out, they could do just that. Hartwell tosses it out to his running back here. He's going to get stuffed right away, creating 3rd and 9. Steelers just used their last timeout to stop the clock at 1:26 to go now. 3rd and 9 here. Hartwell needs to grab a first down. He's going to get sacked and get stopped at the 34. Cardinals with a kick to potentially take the lead in the Super Bowl here. And now they're going to let this clock keep going. 45 seconds on the kick. Kick is up, and that is going to go through. Cardinals take a 3-point lead with around 40 seconds to go in the game. And a very good kick return gets the team now at the 48-yard line for the Steelers. Cardinals defense needs to last for around 30 seconds to potentially stop the Steelers from getting anywhere. Clock is going all the way down. 2nd and 7 now. 23 seconds to go. Gets hit as he throws, and that's going to go out of bounds, creating 3rd and 7. Steelers are looking to get around the 43-ish for a field goal here. 20 seconds left now. They could try to just make a play and get down to the line very quick. His QB is going to scramble. He's going to fumble the ball, and the Cardinals recover it. 12 seconds to go in the game, and that is going to do it on the Steelers season. And Mason Hartwell is adding another Super Bowl trophy to his career. So Mason Hartwell has done it. He's officially won ring number 5 on his career, and in his very last game, there's no better way to end off your career. And after reflecting on a game like this, seeing Mason Hartwell's career unfold has been nothing but jaw-dropping. From breaking the MVP record by a single player, to breaking the single-season passing yard record, to also now having 5 Super Bowl rings, this career looks like one of the best we've ever seen. But now it's time to have have the uncomfortable conversation about where he ranks in the greatest of all time list. And so with Mason Hartwell having 5 Super Bowl wins, this now takes him over the top of Mahomes, who had only 4 Super Bowl wins, so he's officially better than him. So that most likely puts him in second place at this very moment, just behind Tom Brady. And when you start comparing their careers, there starts to become a lot of different arguments you can make. You can make the valid argument that Mason Hartwell is the greatest of all time, as he does maybe lack the Super Bowl wins over Tom Brady, but having all those MVPs is definitely going to help his case out a lot. Or maybe you value the Super Bowl wins that Tom Brady has over Mason Hartwell a lot more, which would mean you keep him as the greatest of all time and probably Mason Hartwell at number 2. But I think the answer is pretty clear that it's really between these two as the greatest of all time, and I'll let you decide who you think is the best. But it's clear Mahomes couldn't reach the levels of Mason Hartwell and Tom Brady in his career to wrap it up. But what if things could have gone differently for his career if instead of being drafted by the Chiefs, he would be drafted by the Buffalo Bills to potentially try to beat out Tom Brady in the GOAT conversation? But click the video on the screen to find out.